They got so close to nailing it, but they couldn't quite do it. Say hello to Figma 628, Alice from NIKKE Goddess of Victory. She is the very first NIKKE Figma and hopefully one of many. She comes in a very pink box, which at first glance looks kind of off. Not sure if it's just me, maybe all the pink and lack of contrast on her face, particularly with the hair, makes it kind of look washed out, and even a little bootleggy. That aside, I assure you this is not a bootleg. The box does look nice and suits her quite well. Of course, I did grab her bonus too. Just wondering, do you usually open your boxes from the top or the bottom? Anyway, getting her out of the box. The box itself has a Tetra insert. Let's just check that everything looks okay, and that she comes with everything she's meant to. Here is a little look at the instructions. There is also a Figma bag. Oh no, it's damaged. Anyway, she has your usual Figma stand and bag of hands. Let's get her out of the tray. Here she is. Yep, this is Alice alright. She has a good weight to her and feels nice and solid. Whether that's actually the case, we'll see later. She feels kind of interesting actually. She's kind of cold to the touch, probably due to the glossy paint instead of being a matte coat like most figures. Which is kind of funny because that's actually lore accurate. In the game, Alice overheats easily and wears a special bodysuit to help her cool down, which incidentally is what feels cold at first touch. Design-wise, she is pretty much just all pink, like a lot of pink. She's got very light pink hair with a very subtle purplish pink shine when the light hits just right. Or I might just be insane, you probably can't even see it on screen. Her hair isn't too detailed, but I think it's good enough. It is a soft plastic, so while it's not as sharp as, for example, Miku's hair, it probably is a little bit more sturdy. She also has her headphone and bunny ear things, which are nicely detailed. She's got nice bright pink eyes and a slight blush, which are also nicely detailed. Same with the mouth, which is good because this is what I'd expect from Figma at this price point. In terms of outfit, it's superb. Superb indeed. She has a very small jacket. Would you even call this a jacket at this point? The details on the outfit are pretty neat with the straps and things. Otherwise, she doesn't really have too much else going on. There is some light sculpting and stuff around her shiny bodysuit. She looks pretty good from the back too, which is a given that she's a NIKKE. She's got some socks and some nice kicks too. What's with her in the check pattern actually? I would probably describe her overall look as myself of today that is much better than yesterday. Felt that one, 10 out of 10. For articulation, head is a little bit tight but has good range. Pretty much moves how you would expect. She turns, nods, and tilts. Do be careful of her side hair and twin tails of course. You can also kind of move her head up and down slightly. Her twin tails feel good to move around and shouldn't be too fragile as they are a soft plastic. She can raise her arms to the side. You can move them all the way around, just do be careful to avoid the hair. Movement is pretty average, and depending on how you push it, it can pop out. The shoulder is a pretty basic design, so it can gap a little depending on the angle. She can reach back and forth like this. The arms on my copy are a little bit loose, but it's not too bad. Wouldn't be hard to fix anyway. She has a bicep rotation. Her elbow bends are okay. You can rotate them a little bit. Her hands move like this. They can be limited a little bit by the sleeves. Her upper torso turns well. It tilts quite well. And she can bend back and forth. With the waist cut that not many people like, she can bend backwards and forwards quite well. It may look a little strange and gappy at times, but it doesn't bother me too much. Also do be careful of the plastic. Not sure how durable the glossy paint is. For leg movement, side spread is okay. Not quite a full split though. Forwards and backwards kick is good. There is minimal gapping due to the design of the leg and her butt, but the articulation is limited a little bit. She does have thigh rotation, her knees bend like this, and feet move like this. Our articulation is nothing fancy, but everything besides the arms feel quite solid, which is good. For accessories, there are 3 faces, a default small mouth confused face, a more surprised kind of face, and a closed-eyed super happy face. I'll say all the faces do look great, however there's just one little thing. There is a slight paint chip on the tongue of the closed-eyed face. Otherwise she has 5 pairs of hands. The alternate hands are individually packed. And you may also notice something else about them. They have individual pegs which make it a bit easier to swap. The wrist movement is in the hand itself. Swapping hands is quite simple, didn't even need to heat it up. They are also nice and secure. If they ever became too loose, it'd be quite easy to tighten them up. Good Smile finally doing something right. Crazy. Anyway, she has default open hands. She has her Alice hands. I don't know what these are. Throwing gang signs at the Raptures. She has her bunny ear hands. She has gun holdy hands. And regular holdy hands. She actually doesn't really have anything to hold. Her regular hands have a white palm and her holdy hands are all pink to avoid paint scuff. Of course she has a sniper rifle. This looks quite superb. Besides looking good, can't really do anything fancy though. Nothing on it moves, but I guess it doesn't really have to. Due to Alice's somewhat limited articulation, she kind of holds the gun in a funny way. But it's fine, she still looks cute. She does also have a strap for her gun. To put this on, you use the strap part to push out this little part. You do this from the other side. Do be careful here, as you wouldn't want to break anything. After you carefully pop it out, just pull the end of the gun off. And then you should be able to attach the strap no problem. Then she can just wear the gun on her back. There is a hole in the strap which aligns with the hole in her back for the stand to lock in place. This is a nice little detail, but it also stays on quite well on its own. You know, I actually just noticed that Alice will never actually fire her gun, as her finger is always off the trigger. She also has alternate legs. Here is what the leg parts look like. Essentially, you swap them at the thigh. The pegs which prevent shrinkage can be a little bit tight. If parts are tight, just give them a bit of heat with either a hairdryer or hot water, or in my case, an iron. Then it should pop out quite easily. So you just swap the lower leg and the feet. And she can do crouching poses and stuff. But here's the big issue. On mine anyway. Her right alternate leg is super loose. It barely stays on at all and leaves a massive gap. Not very superb, is it, Alice? Super unfortunate, as everything else was pretty great until I realized this. Fortunately, there is a superb fix for this. Simply take a small piece of plastic and just shove it in the hole. Now, it's not perfect, but it holds on much better than before and feels like it should. Of course, do it so the plastic is better hidden, but this is just for a demonstration. And you can kind of see the gap is much better than before. With her alt legs, you can pretty much get her into any of her in-game poses. Of course, I also got the Good Smile bonus swirly eyes. How could you not? Which, I guess, unless you missed the Good Smile order window, then in that case, I'm sorry. For height, Alice is 14.5 centimeters tall to the tip of her bunny ears, or 5 3/4 inches. At a 1/12 scale, this makes her about 174 centimeters or about 5'8". Feels a bit tall for our small bunny girl. Here she is next to Modernia, Blue Archive girls, more Gacha girls, Snail Shell girls, Husky girls, and her comrades. I'd say Alice does look really good despite pretty much just being one color. Her details are superb, and you know a good thing about being all one color? No paint rubbing. Another plus is of course her wrist joints. Unfortunately she falls short of being a perfect figure due to having some loose bits and gaps. The ab waist cut fitment isn't that good. On her right there is a larger gap. The same can be said with the shoulder depending on the angle. Maybe she could have benefited from a butterfly joint. And of course her right leg is just messed up on mine. Despite this, she is overall pretty solid and is great to play around with. Obviously I'm gonna overlook some of these because she is a NIKKE, but I'll let you judge for yourself. And remember, yourself of today that is much better than yesterday. Superb.